I think it is very important that we transition over to AOC because it is obvious what the populist left is attempting to do right now. They are going to circle the wagons around her. It is obvious with the independent media sphere, if you even want to call it that at this point. But I want people to understand exactly what her plan is and why the democratic, liberal, Zionist movement is so much more dangerous because they put so many more people to sleep. You don't see it coming. But Alex decided to put this video clip out yesterday with two other congressional representatives, Congressman Levin and Congressman Crow. Now, you'll listen to what she has to say, but then there's another layer to the story that she was not mentioning.
Jason Crow, and I'm here with my friends Alexandria Ocasio Cortez and Mike Levin, and we just launched the In Corruption Caucus to go to the heart of the corruption in this administration and that's overtaking our political system.
Mm-hmm. We all have experienced life and the frustrations with Washington, whether it's not being able to get our healthcare costs down or energy costs staying high. A lot of it has to do with corruption, whether it's billionaires who finance our political system or lobbyists that want to make sure that they exert influence so that we don't actually change the laws to make life for working people easier. Corruption is surrounding all of us.
And it's never been any worse than it is with Donald Trump in the White House. We've seen unprecedented corruption, everything from Donald Trump trading billions of dollars worth of inside deals and trading stock when the federal government is doing business, all these companies donating to the ballroom where we're receiving literally.
Insider trading has been going on Capitol Hill for many, many years. Many, many years.
Yep.
In fact,
the speaker had her own tracker on social media that people could follow all of her stock trades.
All Trump is doing is exploiting this broken system for all it's worth. And he knows that there's plausible deniability. With very few exception, they are all on the take. They have all done the same thing. So it's essentially, if I go down, you're all going to break my fall. You all know what the score is. And that's the way he's playing this game. So when they start talking about insider trading, that, oh my God, can you believe the insider trading that Trump is doing? Yeah, we can, because you allowed it to go on forever.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure he has, legally, technically divested himself of his portfolio, but all it takes is a phone call to whoever's managing his money to ultimately get in front of whatever decision he makes as president or whatever, Congress is about to pass. So, that's the other side that MAGA won't look at. Like, they won't even begin to accept the fact that Trump is profiting handsomely from his own corruption, from his own broken campaign promises. So it's reprehensible. But you cover the left side better than I do. So I don't know anything about AOC's legitimacy in these claims. So what, you were going to break it down for me? You think she's
let's finish
full of
this
shit?
out and then I'll show it. Colin, can I please get that tweet queued up?
$50 billion in federal contracts. We've got to put a stop to it. And we can't just talk about it. We've got to have a legislative portfolio to ensure that it never happens again. At a time when our constituents are struggling to pay health care, they're losing their homes, farms are going under. What corruption really is it's theft. It's stealing out of the pockets of the people that we represent. So we're going to go after it. We're not going to apologize for doing so. We're going to go after taxpayer money that's being stolen from the people that we represent. And that's what this caucus is about.
Mm-hmm. And so many of our priorities here on the End Corruption Caucus include things like getting dark money out of politics, limiting the influence of corporate lobbyists in lawmaking, and also making sure that members of Congress don't buy and trade individual stock as well.
The sad reality is that there aren't that many members of Congress like us who don't take corporate PAC money, who don't trade shares of stock. We've got to do everything we can to make that the new normal. And we're going to do all we can in the months and years ahead to ensure that's the reality here in Congress.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I bet they are definitely looking forward to endorsing you when you run for president. Here's a little something that a lot of people may not know about Congressman Jason Crow, who is a congressman in the state of Colorado. So it turns out that he has taken over $250,000 from the Israel lobby. No surprise.
Yeah.
So when you're going to start with corruption, this is exactly where you start. And then if you think he's bad, Colin, how about Mike Levin? Mike Levin has taken $500,000 in California's 49th district from the pro-Israel lobby. So this is just a sleight of hand.
Right.
You're not actually getting a representative who's going to do anything on your behalf to try to solve this problem. And so when we levy criticism at Alex, it is strictly based on policy. She is a completely uninspired orator as far as I'm concerned. Her vocabulary is marginal at best.
Limited.
And she comes off like a mean girl. Like she comes off like a hair twirling mean girl who is still, living vicariously through her high school days. Like that is how she comes off. And when she's surrounded by these two guys who are knee deep into supporting the state of Israel, how do you put this out there? And who is still getting fooled by it, I think, is the bigger question.
Oh, I think that the litmus test for legitimacy of politicians is actually universal at this point. Like, I'll explain. I think that if your favorite person in Congress is not being aggressively primaried by AIPAC, then they shouldn't be your favorite representative. Like, so MTG and Massey both were, I mean, she ended up resigning, but she was going to face the same gauntlet that Massey got put under with dozens of millions of dollars. That would be my question for you. Has AOC ever faced a $15 million primary bounty from AIPAC? I would guess probably not. And I think that tells you whether or not she's for real. And by the way, I think the other thing that I don't know if this stuff still works on anybody, our age or younger, is the canned 3 people in their suits, obviously with prepared talking points, like all looking at the camera and then smiling and then like, oh, we're going to do the incorruption thing. You're like, this is so obviously fake. I don't know. It just doesn't come across as sincere. If you are sincere, shouldn't you be fucking furious? Shouldn't you be angry that you're surrounded by a bunch of corrupt scumbags, that like 400 plus corrupt scumbags that are all profiting off of lying to the American people? But AOC standing there smiling, and it's like, and smiling, standing next to 2 of the corrupt scumbags. It's just like, oh, I hate these people.
Well, it says to me that she is still, well, first of all, she's extremely coached. She clearly is in bed with the consultant class now. That's obvious. And I think enough people have blown enough smoke up her ass that have basically convinced her that there is an opening here for her to be the Democratic nominee. But I would remind people that in the Democratic Party in particular, the reason why certain candidates can break through in the GOP that they cannot in the Democratic Party is because the Democrats have superdelegates. Let's not forget how they operate their primary system. Their primary system is completely corporate owned and bought, full stop. And they are also fully owned and operated by Israel. They just do it in a more rosy, polite kind of way. There is no changing that reality. There is a reason why anyone who's looking at this logically can see that the odds are right now that it could be a combat. I mean, listen, would it surprise me if the ticket is Newsom AOC? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Because if they think they can sell that, then that's what they're going to sell. The only person who's worth anything in the Democratic Party, if you truly want to say, I mean, we'll see what happens with Plattner, but at the end of the day, the only person who's worth anything in the Democratic Party is Zoran Mamdani. And the only reason you can say that definitively is because not only has he stood up to the Israel lobby, but he's been cutting off city contracts to Israel. Like, this is the type of thing that gets you killed. So you could say what you want about certain socialist policies that he's employing right now. Obviously, everybody, it's a very hot button issue is in regards to how to deal with housing in New York City. But when it comes to this particular issue, he has been as good as anybody in left politics. And that is why they are constantly harassing the shit out of him. He's already won, and his election isn't for another 3.5 years, but they don't care. They are they're at their wits' end, knowing that the leader of the biggest city in the world is against the Zionist cause. I mean, that thing reverberates. The only problem is that you only have one. So it's not like you're going to create a whole bunch of Zorans that are going to run. And the idea that somebody like Spencer Pratt was almost the nominee for mayor in LA, it's like, This is the type of stuff that I look at and I think, have we really run out of ideas, or are we just living through idiocracy right now at this point?
Well, but see, here's the thing. If you were from California, I'm from Southern California. I'm from San Diego. I spent, 36, 37 years there. You would recognize instantaneously that the reason someone like Pratt would have a chance is because the old guard is so disastrous.
Oh, I agree.
LA has been absolutely destroyed by the alleged progressive politicians. So, yeah, that's the reason that he was borderline viable, is because people are so desperate. But the real reality is one, I don't think the election system in California is legitimate, and two, almost all of the people who are right wing or conservative or libertarian leaning, not all, but a huge percentage of them left during the lockdowns. They left to Florida and Texas and Arizona and Nevada and Colorado. We all got out of there. Yeah. So now it's just the people who enjoyed the lockdown era that are remaining. So I know this because my mom still lives there, and she's like, every election cycle she goes, "No, I think we got a chance," and I'm like, "No, you don't. No, you don't. You're not going to change anything."
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think that the state got exactly what it deserved, because obviously he is the left, but he's an honest operator, and I really like him. And that's Butch Ware, who was running on the Green Party ticket. And the Democrats made sure that he could not even be on the primary ballot. They kicked him off the ballot. They spent millions of dollars to make sure that he couldn't have a voice there. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying that Hilton is going to win, because I don't think he will. However, do I think that Hilton is going to overperform? And do I think it's possible he's going to get 45% of the vote? Yeah, I do. Because I think that when you look at Xavier Becerra, who is the nominee, I mean, this guy is an avowed Zionist. He's a complete corporatist, and he basically is the token Latino that they have decided to put up. And when you really think about it, you're just kind of in no man's land. And I wasn't, listen, I was in Yosemite not too long ago, and I saw an ad for Steyer. He obviously spent a lot of money on the campaign. But is that what you've reduced yourself to? That a kind-hearted billionaire now has to run for governor to make sure that California doesn't sink into the Pacific? I mean, these are the little things that we look at from a political standpoint, where we say our country doesn't need to be California or Florida. Like, we don't need these levels of extreme. What we need is some semblance of sanity, which for whatever reason just seems to get lost as we're watching this country just kind of sink further and further into obscurity. And I'm just wondering, what is it that we can do at this point to try to avoid it? I think these conversations help, because I think obviously our audiences will intersect in different ways, and for better or worse. But like I said, not a lot of people are talking about this in a way that I think we should be doing right now. I don't think people truly understand economically how serious our predicament is, and just how much worse it is likely going to get.
Yeah. Well, and how much the Iran war is exacerbating that dynamic. I mean, it's really existential, and Trump is not treating it as such, because his donors will not allow him to treat it as such. Because I don't think he's ideologically aligned with this. I think he's just purely, doing it in a transactional fashion. But it's really, really dangerous what they're doing, and people have not really felt what could happen if this war, blows up into a full-on, like, Iran shuts down not just the Strait, but I think it's the Red Sea or whatever other sea that they have access to, and what that would do to the global economy. Like, people, we're already dealing with record high grocery prices, near record high gas prices. Maybe it is record high at this point. If that were to really boil over into a full-on war, you're talking California gas prices in Florida. You're talking $8 gas in Florida. You're talking $12 gas in California. Like, people don't understand what that would do to the economy. It would be so devastating.